First game is indeed loaded in here. It's going to be the Mongols and the Rus. And now, spawning on the northern side of the map, it is going to be Beastyqt on the Mongols, and on the south side, it is going to be LucifroN and the Rus. And it looks like the Mongols setting up their TC right next to that nice wood line. Ovo is online, hunting cabins, all that sort of good stuff. And the early bounty hunt is on.
Yeah, it's all about that one at this point, and this is where the Mongols will struggle a tiny bit, because the Khan needs 3 arrows to take down each of those deer with, so it's going to be a little more difficult to snipe those deer from in front of the scouts of LucifroN. The good news is that you can aggro the wolves very easily, and that's going to help you try and minimize the amount of wolves that we can work with. It's going to come down to that combination. You probably prioritize going for the wolves, simply because they will give you much more gold for the time investment that it takes to grab them, but obviously having those deer as well is going to be a nice boost to the Rus. And look at that, barracks already coming out here for the Mongol players, so we're going to see quite a lot of aggression coming up, as we would expect.
Yeah, I'm quite curious what the angle of the spearmen is going to be, because Rus bases are notoriously tightly and just compactly built, right? So it's incredibly hard to get any value there, but perhaps we could see some old school kind of Mongol tower rush business, like on the edge of the wood line. Do you think we're going to see something crazy like that? I just feel like that's such a risky play. But again, maybe we could see it from Beasty, as we do, like you said, see the barracks coming up. And so far, the Rus bounty for LucifroN has been pretty good. We see him getting a wolf here. I believe he's gotten 2 or 3 deer camps already. I would imagine his bounty must be pretty darn high already.
Yeah, it should be in the 180s, 200s with that bounty. And as you pointed out, the Mongol Tower Rush is a possibility from Beast. In fact, he's our resident Mongol Tower Rush ambassador, so to say.
He enjoys it. Okay,
yeah,
fair play.
He loves Tower Rushes, and I remember he was casting, I think, the qualifiers for Golden League, and every single game where we saw Mongols, like, okay, give me a Tower Rush. And there he goes.
He's put this evil into the world, I see, yes. The most enjoyable experience, the Mongol Tower Rush. And here comes the first villager. Okay, so we do have a villager in the center of the map. Looks like he's heading eastward, maybe to loop around and hit that kind of northeast patch of the woods to try and pressure the wood line. But even if the tower rush doesn't finish your opponent off, it's still incredibly frustrating. It does kind of force you to play in a more compact way. It takes away angles at which you can leave your base. And also, if the Mongols want to do feudal aggression, for example, they can set up some towers, kind of let them chill, and then use that tower as a beachhead with which to launch your assault.
And the thing is that you're trying to target that forest out there in the south. You see the tower is getting placed right next to it because you're trying to take away the wood from the Rus. That is their most powerful source of resource income, so to say, with the food and fortress boosting the drop-off rate. So you take it off from them. It's essentially the equivalent of taking away the berries, for example, from a Delhi player. You're taking away the best part of their economy. Counter tower coming up here for LucifroN. He was expecting this, though, and okay, that's the Golden Gate. For a moment, the shape of that landmark was weird, so I was like, is that the Golden Gate actually? But yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be the Golden Gate, right? Especially if you're going to be playing against an aggressive Civ in which you might be a little bit denied off gold on the map from this early aggression, like being able to trade, like you said, the most valuable resource, which is wood for them initially, is going to be quite big. And one of the advantages too of the Mongol Tower Rush here is it did. Maybe LucifroN didn't want to build that wooden fortress yet, but it did kind of force his hand in doing that just so the tower isn't right up in his business. And now we see the villager looping around the southern side here of Ye Old Forest, and looks like he's going to be trying to set up another tower here to really, oppress the Rus right here in this position.
Yeah, you gotta follow up that first tower with something, and look at that reaction here from LucifroN. He's pulling the scouts. That's a great move. We have seen this as a response from players that are getting tower rushed by the Mongols. Pull your scouts and burn down the undefended towers, and the Rus can do that with the scouts they have. So Beasty, he's gonna have to continue that pressure, because sure enough, there is the defensive tower for LucifroN, but if there is an offensive tower up as well for Beasty, he can still deny the access to wood. And look at where the backup forest would be for LucifroN. It's so exposed, and it's all about that. Deny the most precious resource of your opponent with those 2 towers by Beasty.
The 2 towers. Yeah, the 2 towers are here, man. Looking good. And now we see LucifroN reaching the feudal age. We're going to be probably seeing his first military infrastructure. It is going to be an archery range, most likely. So obviously the archers aren't exceptional at killing the towers, but they can pick off these spearmen and leave the towers vulnerable to either villager pulls or scouts or other good stuff like that. And not going to be seeing knights. Now, as far as the Mongols go, it looks like the Mongols are on their way to the second age as well. They're about 25% done. The Mongols have gotten their aggression off. I haven't paid too much of a price for it, really. I think he only made, 4 spearmen in total?
Yeah, that's a pretty standard tower rush, I would say. No overinvestment over here. He's actually pulling the villager back, so he's going to stop with this. I would think that once he gets to Feudal Age, we might see some arrow slits, just so that it's a little more difficult to clean those towers up. And for now, LucifroN can access the wood, but the moment those towers get a line of sight on those lumberjacks, those will all die. And you see that, in fact, LucifroN is pulling off all the lumberjacks to the left side, which, of course, for now is a good solution, but there are two problems with this. First, this defensive tower on his wood line now is completely useless because it's no longer boosting his lumberjacks. Second, those lumberjacks are very exposed right now, and it looks like he's also moving out for the boar. Beastyqt could punish this a lot over here in Feudal Age if he goes for horsemen, for example.
Yeah, go horsemen, could also go archers. I mean, there's a multitude of ways he could kind of take this. And the first boar is going to be attacked. Looks like the Rus going to be looking for some delicious feasting right there. So Khan is going to be helping out the villagers right there, which is quite cool. 2 Mongol towers. We do have the arrow slit upgrades coming down to make sure they can't get back there. And I wager that BC is going to get aggressive here. I don't think we're going to be seeing a big castle age play. I think rather we're going to be seeing just perpetual towers followed up by most likely double producing archers or, like you said, horsemen as well. Because now that the Rus have been pushed out of their really defensive concave of a base, they're forced into a very exposed position, which could be pressured super hard here by Beasty.
And we're going to see a lot of horsemen coming out here. We talked about that wooden fortress being one of the most powerful defensive structures in Feudal Age, but mass horsemen can actually deal with that. I think I've seen the Muslim game in which he basically just did that. He did that with English. He actually went the Abbey of Kings, strong farming eco, and built up... Yeah, he did that. He built up like a force of 20 horsemen, burned down the tower, killed the villagers, and then went back home to heal those up. So a critical mass of horsemen, if accomplished, can easily take that fortress down, and it's going to pay for its price because you can get 8 villagers killed over there.
Yeah, certainly. Here comes another tower from the Mongols up on the north side of that wooden forest there. And the archer's going to be scooting out, trying to pick off the villager. Do they get the villager pick? They do not. And Beasty moves in with a couple spearmen, but those spearmen could easily get picked off by those archers. I think they got a little bit startled by the Mongols coming around the corner right there. But we do see wooden fortresses coming up, so... I mean, I guess in terms of just pure resource trade, right? Like, each of those Mongol towers is, what, 100 wood, and the wooden fortresses are like 175? But again, the extra wood you're being given by the fortresses, I think, outscales that. But yeah, they got the boar camp in the middle. I think LucifroN is doing an excellent job holding so far.
Yeah, he's doing a great job over here. And I told you, Beasty is just vouching for that tower rush so frequently. He's going to pull it off. He's not stopping. He's like, okay, I'm going to deny all your lumberjacks in this game.
Yeah.
He did lose the villager over here on the front line, but I wouldn't even be surprised to see him going for another one, because the value that you could get up, the value that you would get from a successful tower that actually goes up is immense. You deny that second forest, LucifroN has nowhere left to go.
It's going to be pretty hard to deny it now, though. I think because we do see the Bruce early knights coming out from the stables, so the archers should be able to, theoretically speaking, with good control, pick off a lot of those spearmen. Although earlier we did see how effective the horseman spearman combo can be against archer knight. We saw that with the French, right? And we saw that go pretty well for the horseman spearman combo. But man, Rus defensive formations are tough, and obviously the Mongol base is very exposed to harass. We see a Rus early knight here, maybe going to get a couple villager kills, might even 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's great value out there indeed. That one knight is going to start poking down villagers, and Beasty didn't seem to notice this. Oh no, that's a disaster. Oh,
pretty rough. Yeah, 3 villagers going down, and he does pull, but it looks like he's going to be losing the 4th villager most likely, although that villager's got some wheels, man. It must be the old network right there. But now that knight's going to be pulled back, but now Beasty is not mining gold, and Beasty actually appears to be going castle age. I think he's realized that he cannot really break this Rus defensive position. You know, obviously maybe it'd be possible, but at a great cost. So he's going to be going castle, trying to get step read out and really taking advantage of that Mongol castle age gold income.
Yeah, and it looks like another villager gets intercepted in the middle over here, so Beasty is down to 27 as opposed to 33. But as you pointed out, that's where castle age could come in. And once you get to castle, a whole world of options opens up for you. Against those mass archers, you can go men-at-arms, and you'll get the step read out, so you would be able to compensate for your lack of villagers. And of course, you can also start moving for those relics. The problem here that you're facing, potentially going for castle age, is that it leaves you vulnerable to a full feudal push by LucifroN, and let's not underestimate LucifroN's army over here. He's got 17 archers, and siege engineering is just a couple of minutes away, really, if he starts researching it right now.
Yeah, BC's kind of forsaken his military production and trying to get castle age, which I think is the correct play. I think that the feudal aggression has just not worked out, and obviously the Rus are ahead in terms of eco. They got a couple villager kills, so I think this like kind of feigned aggression from Beasty is good. He's kind of like acting as if he's still going to be aggressive. He's got the horsemen riding about. There's obviously those towers up, which are a perpetual threat. You know, and there's also the psychological warfare aspect of the Mongol towers. That constant attack notification you're getting on your units is just like, it puts you in that defensive mindset, right? But here's the step readout. Look at that. Man, tons of villagers coming out to build that. And looks like another stable coming up as well. So most likely going to be Lancers here for Beasty.
Makes a lot of sense, because you want to capitalize on that power spike as soon as possible. So you want to start popping out some Lancers. Men-at-Arms would take a little bit more time to capitalize on, because it takes a lot more time for them to get to the other side of the field.
Yeah.
Plus, they also will be weaker against the Rus Knights. On the other hand, though, Rus Knights are moving in, and I think LucifroN did not spot the Castle Age going up here just yet for Beasty, so it will come as a nasty surprise for him to see that his opponent is up to Castle Age, because you see, he tried to go for Siege Engineering, so he was planning to push in the next 1 or 2 minutes, but it could possibly be a little too late, or is it? He's got 29 army against 14 only.
Yeah, I think he's got a good enough critical mass. He also picks off like another 4 or 5 villagers right there. Like, that's pretty brutal, sending a lot of Beasty's units back. Beasty does not really have like a big pasture economy set up. I think I saw maybe 1 pasture up there. Obviously, he was using most of his early lumber for the dreaded tower rush there. And siege engineering, like you said, is coming up. Steady production from a very, very solid Rus economy, comparatively speaking. And yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before battering rams are coming. And Rus battering ram play is pretty incredible due to the amount of wood that they usually get.
And look at that, he's moving towards the second boar. I love how LucifroN is playing this. First of all, his timing is great. He's cutting off Beasty from gold. Look at Beasty's army. Not a single Castle Age unit. Beasty's in Castle Age, but he simply can't afford to produce units because he didn't have access to gold, and he had to move the step out all the way to the left.
Yeah, look at this. Continued harassment of the Rus. The horsemen of the Mongols moving in, trying to get a little bit of value, but for the most part, they just get blasted by the wooden fortresses every single time. The second boar is being taken. I would imagine the bounty has got to be really, really good right now. And he must be rolling in it. Now, are we going to be seeing battering rams soon? I believe siege engineering did finish, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Yeah, it is finished. I guess, yeah, it's going to be 500 bounty, so he's in that tier 3. That's really good. I mean, with 2 boars, you would expect something like that. And now LucifroN, he could be thinking about Castle Age as well for himself. He's not super far away. So he has to make a decision. Do I make a push right now, or am I working towards Castle Age?
Yeah, it certainly has to make a decisive strike either one way or the other, because right now, Beasty, though he is, behind on eco, the step readout is pretty crazy, and obviously having Castle Age cavalry compared to your Feudal Age cav is going to be a big deal. And we do see a battering ram coming down. So we saw the first battering ram being made, and it looks like the Rus are going to be putting on the aggression, as their bank isn't terribly substantial, right? We got 325 food in the bank and, 79 gold or something like that. So I think it is going to be Rus aggression, although he's building that battering ram really far away from Beasty. Is that just to kind of maybe surprise him with it so he doesn't see it coming? That is certainly some very...
clean up the towers. Because
oh yeah, he's going for the towers, that's right.
All of his lumberjacks are idle. You see all those villagers on the right side, they are idle because the tower now has a line of sight on them, and they couldn't chop trees. You see, right now the tower is shooting at that lumber camp over there.
It's so annoying. Oh my god. Look at that. Yeah, so the battering ram's getting in there. Going to get torched a little bit. Villagers are on standby to provide repairs as well. I think he's reached his threshold of insanity as the attack notifications have driven him to the brink of madness here. Battering ram pulling back. And honestly, Beasty's doing a pretty good job scrapping here. A couple knights moving in, going after the boar farmers up in the north. And it looks like there are going to be some substantial villager losses as LucifroN does not garrison them in the tower. He's going to be losing all those villagers.
Oh, he didn't notice, and that's what you said, the psychological warfare of those tower attack notifications always in your ears. You just don't notice a new front being open. And now Beasty is grinding down LucifroN so well because he simply can't take that tower down. That single tower at the back of that forest by Beasty is preventing LucifroN from accessing wood. Look at that, 0 wood per minute. He could get to Castle Age, but this means that he can't really go for a ton of battering rams, and all the horsemen could torch down that battering ram as well. That's the only tool that LucifroN right now has to deal with those towers. Oh, that's a disaster. You can't afford to lose that battering ram right now.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, the investment in the battering ram in conjunction with the fact that Beasty did get some great villager harass right there. The villager count is 39 to 43, a pretty negligible difference. And when you take into account the step readout, which is just such a strong landmark, dude, he's going to be, most likely actually ahead in terms of economy because I don't think he's being harassed quite as much.
Yeah, towers are now getting cleaned up though, so at least the lumberjacks can finally start working again. And there is still, of course, the Abbey of the Trinity coming in for you. Interesting decision to go for the Abbey right now, because his Castle Age is much slower than the opponent's Castle Age timing. So by this time, Beastyqt could have potentially collected all the relics. So there is some risk associated with this. He could easily find himself in a position where there is no relics, for him at least, left on the battlefield. But he's gonna be lucky that Beasty hasn't started collecting relics yet. The concern now is that LucifroN is down to 36 wheels. He'll have just lost so much.
Yeah. Beasty, I mean, is ahead in villagers. He's been Castle Age longer. He probably has more upgrades. And it looks like that is actually going to be a tap out as he sees the writing on the walls. And Beastyqt is going to be claiming game 1 with the dreaded Mongols.
Oh, such a weird game, because LucifroN was in a great position for so long, but then things started just spiraling out of control. He didn't notice his boar villagers getting slain. That was a great counterattack by Beasty. And then, of course, Beasty, seeing that his opponent was castling, he just went in, picked off some villagers on the wood lines, on the gold mines, and in just the blink of an eye, really, villager count just got decimated. You see that sharp decline at the end for LucifroN. If that didn't happen, LucifroN would actually be in a better position, I think.
Yeah, I think there was just so many things that were kind of overwhelming there. The lumber line, he lost like 5 or 6 villagers over on his boar camp over there. Beasty had been in the Castle Age for a long time. He had many lancers out on the battlefield. The Rus still had yet to upgrade their knights to the Castle Age. He probably didn't have enough to really upgrade everything he wanted to. So I think he just kind of felt that all those variables compounding were probably a little bit too much to take. So Beasty is going to be taking game 1.